कि जीवन में ऐसे गलती रह गई, कभी पूछा नहीं क्या कर रहा क्या नहीं कर रहा, वैसे मेरी गलती ही रह गई।
Please mute yourself if you're in the session and are not asking a doubt.
अब जितना न मरना होगा कुछ टाइम बात करना वैसा।
What are we gonna cover today?
Today we'll be focusing on week 3, and specifically, I think the content has already been covered for week 3, so we'll be moving on with solving questions of the practice assignment. And if you have any doubts conceptually, we can do that while doing the assignments themselves.
Okay, so it was covered in the previous instructor session, the theory part.
Yeah, week 3 was covered in the previous instructor session.
Okay.
So I'll just be waiting for around 2 more minutes for more students to join, and then we'll be starting with the session. I'll just share my screen in the meanwhile. Let me know if it's visible. Is my screen
Yeah,
visible?
it's visible.
Okay. I would urge you all to solve it with me if you haven't already solved the practice assignments, and try to have a rough sheet with you. Open the data set if possible, and it will help you understand basically how to go about solving the question in real time. If you have any doubts, you can stop and ask me there in itself. Otherwise, if you go and solve again on your own later, you might have doubts which then you'll have to post either on discourse or maybe ask in the next session. So please take some. I'll give you around like 1 or 2 minutes to first read the question, go through the question, and see what you want to do. And if so, the key in CT is basically to first understand the question properly, go through it, understand what it is trying to ask, go through the options once, and that itself will clear most of your doubts. So we'll be focusing on that as well as solving the questions today for practice assignments. Okay, so we'll be starting with the session now. So hope all of you can first access the week 3 practice assignment on your portal. So question 1 basically says it's related to the shopping bills data set. So I have my shopping bills data set open here in the common data which is provided in the supplementary section. And you can also access the data set from here. So I'll just give you 1 minute to read the question. Just read the question once, and once you're done, just one person might unmute and say that, okay, they're done with the reading the question, and then we can continue with solving it.
Excuse me, ma'am. Week 3 activity question will be solved today.
If you have
Hello?
any particular doubt in the activity questions, then we can
I have,
solve.
that's why I am telling.
So maybe we can first solve the practice assignments first, and in between, either after we've solved at least half of the practice assignment, or after we've completed with the agenda of the meet, we can move on to the activity questions as well. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so I think the pseudocode for this particular week was not properly visible. That will be solved from the next week onwards. So for the time being, I will be using the PDF version to understand the pseudocode better.
Ma'am,
Okay.
I had doubt with the graded assignments, question number 7 of last week.
Okay, so maybe we can take that up at the end after we are done with this.
Okay, fine.
So is this visible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So moving on with the question. In the shopping bills data set, we have a procedure given to us. I hope all of you are familiar with what a procedure is, what parameters are, and how to go about defining a procedure. So in this data set, a procedure count bills is used, which basically counts the number of bills from Big Bazaar with total amount more than the average total bill amount. This average total bill amount refers to the overall bill amount and not just for the Big Bazaar. So while reading the question, read it carefully so that you understand which part of the whole data set the average total bill amount is referring to. Assume that the variable average holds the value of the average total bill amount. So we have been told that already we have the value of average bill amount and average, so we don't need to calculate that. Choose the correct code fragments to complete the procedure. And this is a multiple select question, which means that more than one options can be correct. Just give me a second. So basically for this particular question, you would notice we don't even need to see the data set as such for now, because it's more of a conceptual question. But in the upcoming questions, we might need to do some things with the value. So in that particular case, we'll go with that. Okay, so you can see the pseudocode now. So the count bill procedure is given. Procedure count bills. There is no parameter passed in this for now. So count is a variable that is initialized to 0. And while pile 1 has more cards, we are just reading the top card from pile 1. We have to fill this particular code logic, and we are moving the card to pile 2, and we are returning count. So basically, in this, sorry,
Option A.
yeah, we'll go through the options one by one. Yeah, so in this particular case, we have to fill this particular code fragment. So what I'll do now is I'll just show you all the options together once if possible. So these are the first two options. These are the last two options. Let me zoom out further. I hope you can still see it. So are all the options visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So just look at the options once, go back to the pseudocode which is provided and see which part you have to fill. And based on that, decide that given the logic of the code, read it once again, that we have to find the number of bills from Big Bazaar with total amount more than the average total bill amount, which is already given to us in the variable average. So now if we go question by question, so each option we'll try to go through once. Have you all gone through the options once?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Option number A.
So option number A is one of the correct option, but like I said, it's MSQ, multiple select question. So it's not just option A, but other options can also be correct. So now if we see at the pseudocode and the option A, we can see that if x dot shop name is equal to Big Bazaar, that is correct. We are looking for shop name with Big Bazaar. And
Yes,
inside that, once we know that the x dot shop name is Big Bazaar, we enter the if block, and we see that if x dot total bill amount is greater than average, then we are incrementing the count variable to count plus 1, right?
Ma'am, B and A, B
This-
and C are right option.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just go option by option, and then we can see if you got the correct answer. Just write it in the chat box, or in the beginning of the question I'll try to ask you what the correct answer is according to you, and then we can move forward with it. Okay. So everybody understands why A is the correct answer here.
Yes,
A
ma'am.
is one of the correct answer here. Now we move on to option B. For the same logic, there can be different ways to write the answer. So here we see in option B, if X dot total bill amount is greater than average. Basically, whatever the second if statement we had here, we are trying to apply that first. Now that is also okay, because basically we need something which constitutes of both of these conditions, right? This also should be true and this also should be true. Only then count will be incremented. So even if we rearrange the order for this particular logic, it will be correct. It might not be correct for all other logics, so don't assume this that okay, this is equal to this for all cases. It is not. For our particular logic, it is true that okay, both these things are correct. Okay. Now option C states that if X dot total bill amount is greater than average and X dot shop name is equal to Big Bazaar, and now in this case we are essentially doing whatever option A and B were doing. We first check this and then we check the other one,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So we are incrementing
True.
counts. Option C is also correct. Now option D is wrong. Why? Because it is checking.
Here
if
it
the
is said that
response-
total
Less
bill
than
amount
F.
is less than average. And
Yes,
for
exactly.
question it is talking about total bill amount is greater than average. So the option is wrong.
So A, B, and C options are correct. So this was a very simple question. We could consider this to be more of a warm up for the upcoming questions. So everybody is
Ma'am,
clear
it
with the
was
execution
a
of this?
very easy question.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was
ma'am.
a very good question. So we can move on to the next question.
Ma'am, I
then?
have studied CS so that this question is not very difficult to me.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
Assignment one.
so let's assume that everybody here is a beginner. So we'll move on according to that pace itself. If you've already studied something, please keep it to yourself for now so that the session can move smoothly and not be interrupted again and again. Even though I want the session to be interactive, I don't want it to be disruptive. So if everybody starts speaking together, I will have to mute you all. Now moving on to question number 2. I'll give you some time to the question. I'll also be inserting the answers here so that at the end we can check if our answers are correct or not.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, where a victory summary?
Sorry.
Victory summary where
Week 3 summary.
I don't access victory summary session.
So week 3, I guess the previous instructor session week 3 was covered, right? So you can see the recording on the CT channel.
No, it's half.
Your voice is
Ma'am,
not really audible.
in the previous session, the instructor solved the questions.
Ma'am, the same practice question.
Yeah.
So for week 3, they were solved.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you please explain the fifth question?
Okay, just give me a second once.
Ma'am, we are not access victory summary session. Please provide a link.
No, I
Just give
thought
me a
the
second.
weekly summary didn't.
Option number C, -1.
Yeah, just give me a second. So a lot of you are saying that it's week 3 practice assignments have already been covered.
Yes, ma'am.
In which date session exactly?
Monday
2
or
days ago.
Tuesday.
Okay,
Monday or Tuesday.
just 1 second.
But ma'am, no, I have a summary session of victory itself. Then you provide me link.
No, I'm not. The summary which I'm talking about, it was the session basically. So you'll be able to access the link on the ITMBS online degree program YouTube page in the live section.
No, it's no. वहाँ पे नहीं है.
Okay, then maybe you can post it on either on Discourse or to the support team once, because I see a lot of CT instructor sessions and live sessions here. It is bound to be that one of them week 3 was discussed, because that was the agenda for the previous one. But okay, either way, even if it's not discussed, we can go through the topics once again if you have any doubts. So while solving these questions, we can see that if you have any doubts, we can go through them. Otherwise, maybe I'll focus on just quickly going through all this, and then we can take up the
So, ma'am,
PA
will
or
we discuss
previous.
this assignment now?
Sorry.
Will we discuss this assignment now?
Yeah, we'll
Ma'am,
be discussing this assignment right
hello.
now.
Ma'am, first we
Yes.
discuss about summary, then we discuss about question, na?
Yeah, that is
Yes.
correct. The summary has already been discussed in the previous session. That
No,
is
ma'am,
what.
you can check there is no summary session. Only half, 1 or 2 point or 3 points. Just like that. Please check that.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so since a lot of you are saying that you are unable to see the session with the summary, or maybe there is some operational issue here, we'll go through the content once again briefly, and then we can solve the activity questions, as a lot of you were asking if you have doubts in that. Okay, and maybe
Okay, ma'am,
practice
thank you.
assignments. Some are saying it's already discussed, so if that's the case, then okay. If it's not discussed, then maybe that will be covered in the next session. So we'll try to go through the content ones. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, for the second question, the answer will be 1 or -1, because the value we are getting after solving the question, we are getting 1, and they have said if the value is greater than equal to 1 or greater than equal to 0, we will either use 1 or -1 as the
And
answer.
-1 is the right answer. -1 is right answer.
So, okay, let me just discuss this one question and then we'll move on to the summary then. Okay. So the question to everybody can see the question. Just
Yes,
confirm
ma'am.
once. Yeah.
We can.
Let's go through the pseudocode once and then we'll look at the options and then the correct answer. So the following pseudocode is executed using, first of all, we are looking at the scores data set. What will be the value of Z at the end of the execution? We'll first try to go through the pseudocode and see whether we even need to go to the data set or not. If we need to, we'll look at the values in the scores data set. First, let me just briefly show you the scores data set once. So basically this you'd be familiar with this. We have student, name, gender, date of birth, town, and the marks in 3 subjects as well as the total marks. So here we have some T, some M, some P, and some C equal to 0. So somehow we can confer that sum t is the total summation of all the marks for all the students. Sum m is the sum of maths marks for all students, and similarly, p and c would refer to physics and chemistry. What we are doing is that while pile 1 has more cards, we keep on picking up the top card from pile 1. We keep on adding the scores for that particular card, the total maths, physics, and chemistry, to the sum t which is already there. So at the end of this execution, we can see that sum t will contain the sum of all the total marks for all the students. Sum m will contain the total of all maths marks for all the students. Sum p will contain the total of physics, and sum c will contain the total of chemistry marks for all of the students. Now it is asking that assume z is equal to 0. If sum m plus sum p plus sum c, basically if summation of all of these together divided by sum t is greater than equal to 0, then z is 1. Otherwise, if it is less than equal to 1, then z is equal to minus 1. Right? Now here what it is doing is, first it is implementing this particular if. Then even if this is true, even if I put z to be equal to 1, it is again executing this, and in that case z will become minus 1. Right? Now we can logically infer that whenever we will sum the maths marks, the physics marks, and the chemistry marks, they will always be less than the total marks, because anyway total is the summation of a single total for one particular card. The sum total is the summation of the maths, physics, and chemistry marks, right? Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So anyway, if we will basically add all of them and divide by the total, the answer will be 1, right? Logically.
Yes, ma'am.
So in that case, even though the first one is correct, at first z will be initialized to 1. That is correct. But we will after that move on to the other if statement also. Look at it. It's not else or else if, right? It is if. So even after z is 1, we will move into the second if block. This is also true. Z will become minus 1. So the answer will be C.
But
Ma'am,
ma'am,
but
like it's not a nested if condition, so why is it important
No,
to go to second if also?
no, it's not a nested if, but it'll still get executed, right? So basically, when you come to line 11, you get into line 12 because line 11 is true. But after this 11 to 13 block is completed, the next logical line of execution is 14 only, right? Irrespective of this, even if you remove this, the code will still come to line 14.
Hmm.
So the value of z will be overridden by minus 1 then.
Okay, ma'am.
ma'am,
Just consider this to be two separate if statements, and since the second one is also true and it is being executed afterwards, then this one will prevail.
So
Also, ma'am, like
both will be like both will be executed for a same card, right? Or
So first of all, we will go through all the cards in this while statement itself. Now, when the last card is moved to pile 2 and the card is empty, the while statement will end, and now we just have the 4 variables that we are dealing with, and with that we are testing these if conditions.
excuse
From
me,
line
ma'am, but
10
in
to
case
16.
of 0, both will be executed, no? In case of 0.
In case of 0, what do you mean by that?
In the line 11, the pseudo code is written as greater than equal to 0, so it can be 0. And in
No, I'm
from
not
line
saying it can be 0. That is not what this means. So
no,
logically, if
greater than equal to 0 means it can be 0 or greater than 0.
yeah, but this value is a constant, right? It doesn't mean that
Yes.
it can take any value. We just want to check that whatever this value is it greater than equal to 0? Logically, we know that this value will be 1, right? So 1 is greater
Yes.
than equal to 0. That is why we will enter this. That is all.
ma'am, but in line 14 they have said like smaller than or equal to 1. So smaller than 1 we will get 0 in that
Yes,
case.
I am telling that only.
Yeah.
No. So you're not understanding this. Greater than equal to and less than equal to. It doesn't mean that both conditions should be satisfied. It can either be greater than or it can be equal to, right?
Let's say if it satisfies line 11, then it will obviously come to line 14, no, after execution of line 11.
No. So basically, first of all, assume that okay, we don't know anything about this particular thing, what value it can hold. If we consider that this sum m plus sum p plus sum c divided by sum t, we don't know what values it can logically hold. Assume that this is some random variable x, and now x can hold any value. Let's say x is 5. In that case, the 11 if statement will be true, but the 14 one will be false. Similarly, if I say that x is minus 1, in that case the 11 one will be false and 14 one will be true. But in this particular case, logically, we know that the answer for this particular expression is 1 only, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody have any doubt in how that will happen?
Ma'am, explain
Whenever
from past, it would be easier because it came like confused.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am,
Ma'am,
please, one last thing I want to ask. Like, if we have read the first card and suppose we have get sum total is equals to 210, and the sum of math is like 68, then 64 and 78 for the other consecutive things, variables they have given, right? So when we will
yeah,
come in the while loop again, then we will set the variables to 0 again, or we will just uh, mm, start from the value of variables which we have get in the previous card.
no, when we're talking about these ones, these variables you're talking about, right? So
Yeah.
these ones they're not inside while, right? So no, we will not start from scratch. Sum t, suppose for the first iteration, sum t will be 210,
Hmm.
some m will be 68, some p will be 64, and some c will be 78, right? So in the second iteration, this particular one will already contain that value, and to that we will add the next score. So it will basically be 210 plus 198.
Okay. And like if we are going through iteration, like first we will go through the while loop and then we'll come again to the while loop only, or we will just get to the line 10.
We will get to the line 10 once the whole while loop is executed for the complete pile of cards. So the complete pile
Okay,
of
ma'am.
cards here refers to this 30 cards.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Okay. And logically, we know that the total will anyway be the sum of individual maths, physics, and chemistry marks. So this value will always be 1. And 1 is greater than equal to 0 is true. So z will first become 1, then z will become minus 1. If you
Ma'am,
still
I have a
Excuse me,
question
ma'am.
in this.
Excuse me,
How
ma'am.
can it be always be one? But I am telling that if sum t is greater than sum m plus sum p plus sum c.
how do you think that could be greater?
Sum t
Can
is
you?
basically the
This
total
is
of
for
all
only
three.
one cards. Is it executed for one cards only?
No. It's executed for all cards, right? But if we
Ma'am,
see, there are two ways to
ma'am,
go
I
about
have one
it.
doubt. Hello, ma'am. I have one doubt.
Okay,
Can we
understood.
please,
I have
can
confused it
we,
with the
can we,
max one.
Ma'am, I have
okay,
one doubt,
that's
please.
okay. Yes.
Ma'am, in the end of the question, in the question, it is given two statement that if some m plus some p plus some c divided by some t is greater than or equal to 0,
Hmm.
and it is also given if some m plus some p plus some c divided by some t greater less than equal to 1, then z equal to
Hmm.
minus 1, first one, the condition is z is equal to 1. Then why
Yes.
minus 1 is correct answer, ma'am? Because, ma'am, this is, I think, not a necessary if you have, but why? Why it is minus 1, ma'am, always?
That is what I
Because
told
why?
in the beginning, right? पहले 11th वाले if execute होगा, and once that will get executed, z की value 1 हो जाएगी. But उसके बाद logically code chronologically चलता है ना, तो पहले 1 से 10 11th statement तक आएगा. फिर उसके बाद जब वो 11th if से बाहर आएगा, तो वो 14th if execute करेगा, right? And once that 14th if statement will be executed, since it is true, z will become minus 1. तो पहले z की value 1 होगी, पर उसके बाद override होकर minus 1 हो जाएगी.
So in this case, I have a question that sum p plus sum m plus sum c divided by t will always be 1. So in
हाँ.
this case, line 11 gets true and z is executed and z gives the result as 1. Then how it can be true for line 14 because it cannot be less than 1, no?
No,
If
z
it's less
की
than 1,
value
it
1 हो
gets
रही है,
0.
right? We are not checking the value of z here. We are checking the value of the summation of m,
Yes,
p,
yes, I
c,
am
and t.
telling
That
that
is,
only for line 14. How can it be 1?
why
Less
it
than 1?
won't be 1? No, why won't it be 1? What we are
I am
checking in
telling why
line
it
14
will
here.
be less than 1, not 1.
No, it will not be less than 1. It is checking less than equal to 1, right? So even if it is equal to 1, we will enter 15. That is what less than equal to means, right? That is what we studied in the first week itself.
Uh, I thought you are not getting my question. I am telling that in the line 11, it is given that if it is greater than equal to 0, then we will get the result as z equal to 1. So we
No,
know
we
that
are not
the
saying we
sum
will get the result as z is equal to 1. We are saying we are assigning 1 to variable z. That is all
okay,
we are
it's right.
saying.
Then it will be sum m plus sum p plus sum c divided by sum t is always 1. Since it is always 1, so it will be greater than 0. It is always. But how can
Yes.
it be less than 1?
No, it
For
is
line
not.
Not
14, I
less
am
than
saying.
equal to
Why?
1.
Yes,
Acha,
equal
what
to
do you think?
1
What do
understood.
you
So
think
it
less
can
than
be
equal to 1 means? If I say that 0.5 is less than equal to 1, do you
minus
think that is
infinity
true
to
or false?
1.
No.
What?
If I say 0.5 is less than equal to 1, do you think that is true or false?
I'm true.
True.
So how then why in case of 1 less than equal to 1 you are saying it will be false?
No, I am telling
Logically
that
it means
it
or,
will be
right?
1.
Yes,
Yes.
it will be 1. 1 is less than equal to 1 is a true statement.
तो मैम ये बताइए मैम 1 इक्वल टू 1 z इक्वल टू 1 पर ये कंडीशन में हो गया तो इसीलिए z फिर जब दोबारा सम किए तो जो है वो ये इक्वल टू 1 है तो वो ट्रू है तो इसलिए z -1 हो गया तो इसलिए -1 सही आंसर है फाइनल इसीलिए ना
हाँ जी. Yes.
am I right?
Now yes, you're right.
Okay ma'am.
Okay, now we will move to some basic summary of
Ma'am.
week 3 first. So
Ma'am.
see, first of all, I would like to, instead of taking the doubts themselves, I would first like to complete the agenda for the session because in the next session आप लोग दोबारा बोलोगे कि week 3 का content revise नहीं हुआ है. So we will go through the content first. I'll revise whatever is given in the week 3 through the slides themselves and explain whatever doubts you get in that. After that, we will try some activity questions. If time is left, we can take up the doubts. If not, we'll first focus on covering the session. We've already gone through half an hour of the session in
Yes ma'am.
solving 2 questions. So let's move on and complete the concepts first so that everybody can be on the same page.
Yes ma'am सबसे पहले week 3 का concept क्लियर कर दीजिए सही रहेगा.
Ma'am, this
Ma'am,
is where people
could you
were
please
like
go to
students
the
were asking for summary first.
Summary is basically I'll be teaching you the concepts of week 3, right? That is what I mean by summary. We are not I mean maybe later, but right now today I won't be sharing some, let's say, master document which is a summary of all week 3. That is not how it works, right? It's not that you will read one document and
Hello,
understand
ma'am.
everything that is there in
Hello.
week 3.
Ma'am, my internet connection was lost. That's why I am not able to ask the question. In this question, if the could you please navigate to the question?
Yeah, we can take up the questions in the at the end now. Let's go through the content first, okay?
Okay.
So I'll be using Excalibur for this. So in this particular week, the first thing we did was we introduced a concept of table. How whatever data set we have been given, how can we represent that in the form of a table? So we took the example of this particular data set which we had, which was the scores data set. We can see that here also. We have grade cards here. Various grade cards are there. So in this, you can see in each grade card, we have some or the other information. And in each grade card, we have different values for some same amount of parameters, which is name, gender, date of birth, town, city, etc. So all these things are basically attributes of this particular card. So if we talk about this particular card that is on the screen right now, we can see the index, the yellow circle is 0. In the next one, it becomes 1. So on and so forth, it keeps on increasing, right? Similarly, name, gender, date of birth, everything gets changed, but the attributes, the name of the attributes is common in all the cards. All the cards are representing the same information about different students. So all these things, the name, gender, date of birth, town, city, etc., are the attributes. So here, if we go through this, basically, if I come down, they have shown everything in the form of a table here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So This table basically contains these headers which are represented in red color. These are basically the attributes. This is what we call the attributes or fields, which is card ID, name, gender. If you talk about some other data set, let's say here I go to some other data set, train data set, let's say we went to. So station wise train data set I have. In this, what all do you think is the
Ma'am, train number, art, department, and days are attributes.
It is not department, departure.
Departure, sorry.
yes. So for this, we have train number, arrival, departure, days, as well as the name of the station, right? So these are
Yes,
the
ma'am.
attributes which are there. Let's see train wise also once. So in this, we have train number, the days which are there. Basically, whatever
Ma'am,
information this card
distance,
is holding, right?
station name, and race and departure, they are attributes.
Yes, but not only those. It's not just the table which is represented here, which will be copied in the table. Everything this card is representing, which is unique to this card, will be put in the table as a record. So here we have the train ID also. We have the days the train runs. We have the station names, the distance to from that station to that particular train, how much distance it will be covering, the arrival time, departure time, as well as the number of days. Okay. Now, if we move on to a simpler data set to understand this, let's go to the shopping bills data set. Now, in the shopping bills data set, we have the name of whoever is buying, right? Again, the index is there, which is the unique identifier. Now, two people can have the same name, they can go to the same store, and they can buy the same amount of things, right? But what differentiates them in our data set is the index we are assigning to it. So in this case, the name of the store, the name of the customer, the index, the total amount of the bill, and the items, the category of that particular item, quantity, price, cost. All of these can be represented as the attributes or fields for this particular table. Now it is up to us how we define it, what fields we want to keep, what attributes we want to keep, or what we want to remove. Okay. So this much is clear what attributes are.
Yep, ma'am.
Now we see that in one particular card we see all the attributes. Now what are the rows then? Now attributes, we saw that okay, this particular thing we filled as columns, right? Column ID, column name, column gender, date of birth we have. Now what does one row represent? So we know this particular column represents ID, this particular column represents name. But what if we take this particular row? What does
Case
this represent?
observation.
Yes, this is the card which is there, one particular case which we are talking about. So when we organize this as table, we can see that all the grade cards can be represented in a single table using multiple rows, where each row is basically one particular card. Each card is a unit of information, and each card can be represented as a single row. This much is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And each
Ma'am.
row should ideally be unique. In a good table, if the setup what we are aiming for is a good setup, ideally each row should be unique so that we can differentiate between the different rows. If it is not unique by default, we break it into multiple tables to make it unique, which we'll see in the further lectures.
So, ma'am, 10, row number 10. Sorry, ma'am, 10 is a row, no, ma'am, Kavya F.
So this is particular row in which ID is 10. तो इस रो की ID एट्रीब्यूट 10 है, नेम एट्रीब्यूट काव्या है, जेंडर एट्रीब्यूट फीमेल है, and so on and so forth.
Ma'am, if it is asked that like for particular, like what is Kavya, an attribute or a case, then what will be it?
Ma'am, it will be a case, ma'am.
Kavya is the value of an attribute for one particular we could say card here. Case is also, I mean, depending on the context, the words will keep changing. So what you have to know is attributes or fields and the rows which are there. So each row represents one particular card or record. A more generic term here would be the record. Okay.
Ma'am, but in like assignments, like graded assignment week 1, there was like random names, like for example, what is Kavya, an observation or a observation or a variable? What is Chennai, a case or a variable?
So, depending on the question, the context of the question, I can answer that. But generically here, the question, what is Kavya? It is basically one value of the attribute name in this particular table. For ID 10, the name is Kavya. Okay.
Ma'am,
Okay, ma'am. Thank
attribute
you,
is
ma'am.
also known as variable, no?
Sorry.
I am telling that attribute is also called as variable.
So it basically depends on the context. Variable is something which we are defining. It need not be an attribute itself. A variable is something which we are defining in the pseudocode for us. So what value it takes, it can take up the value of an attribute, but it can be something else also. Let's say I want to create a variable for average. Now average here is no particular attribute here is called average, right? But I will create a variable average which will basically calculate the average of all the subject marks for that particular student. That is not an attribute.
No, I am telling variable because of since each value is getting new value after one row.
No, so that can be considered, but for the purpose of computational thinking context, right? A variable is something else, something which we use in a
Okay.
pseudocode, which keeps on changing. So we won't confuse the terms here. For this table which we are talking about right now, we are not talking about the pseudocode, right? For this particular table, we will use the term attribute or field.
Okay.
So the same example has been taken for paragraph dataset in which ID, word, type, and length. So basically, all the content which we can show in this card is represented in the form of the table. Again, for shopping bills also, we are talking that the attribute for this particular thing is the bill ID, shop name, customer name. This is what we talked about, right? But then for each particular customer, there are several item category, quantity, price, cost, and total. This part of the table, basically the one which is in white and the total yellow. So these are two separate things. So for each customer, for each index, there are multiple item category values which are there. So each thing is getting repeated again and again and again. If you notice, that is something which is not ideal for our case. So you see, if we try to create a table, variable number for each bill, we don't know how many rows will be coming, right? Earlier we knew that for each particular index, only one row will be there. For ID 24, only one word will come. We won't have ID 24 and two words of different types and different lengths, right? But in this case, we are noticing for one particular bill ID, there are multiple rows in the table with different item category and stuff. So this is not an ideal scenario. We will see why. So this is, first of all, this is not a neat table anymore. If the purpose of a table is that given some particular value of an attribute, we can find something quickly, right? Using indexing. So to take one small example, let's say when we used to have the indexes of the notebooks in our schools, right? Let's say we started chapter 1, we used to write that in the index, right? That okay, this page number, this chapter 1 we had started, and this lasted for this many chapters in our books. Now let's say for some two for the index 5, we have 2-3 different chapters there, and you say that okay, I want to go to chapter 5. How will you understand which index it is referring to? That will cause ambiguity, right? So that particular index, even though the value will be unique because of the other variables which are there or the other attributes which are there, but at the same time, the number of columns for each index will not be the same, which makes the table basically makes the table sort of not neat. And to fix this, basically, we can do one thing. So just to give an example first, this is the shopping bill as a table. For ID 5, we have so many rows which are there, and we don't even know that for ID 6, we will have the same number of rows or more rows, right? I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is not an ideal scenario, as you can see. It's something which we don't want duplicate rows basically. And as the number of entries in the bill will increase, this problem will become further more and more, and the size of the table will increase astronomically, which is something we can fix by having multiple tables now. We know for a particular ID, we have shop and customer name and total as unique values, right? These are not getting repeated again and again. But for this particular ID, we have a lot of repeated content in item category, quantity, price, and cost. How about we create a different table where we can refer to this particular shop by the ID itself, and then for each ID we have different item category and stuff. So this seems like a good idea now. Let's say I only want information related to the shops which are there, the name of the shops or the customer, how many customer came to that shop. I don't want anything to do with the item they bought or the category of item they bought. In that case, this earlier table, this the first table which I'm talking about, that is sufficient for me. I don't even need to go to the second table. But let's say these tables would
ID.
not have been mixed. Sorry?
Ma'am, I am saying that you are talking about ID. You not go to category, quantity, and ID.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that let's say I want to consider my problem statement is that I want to see that which all shops the customer Akshay goes to. Okay. Now Akshay might go to multiple shops. Let's say she goes to Big Bazaar also, and I'm hypothetically assuming okay she goes to some other store also. Let's say Sun Store was there. Okay, let's say she goes to both Big Bazaar and Sun Store. But now consider two views that we're talking about. First, we had this whole table. For this, if we want to find out that okay, what shop does customer Akshay go to, what we'll have to do is we'll have to search for Akshay. There'll be so many duplicate values for which the answer for shop I will get as Big Bazaar, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But repeatedly we have to iterate through so many rows again and again. Correct?
Yes, ma'am. So in all cases, we get Akshay only.
Yeah, for all we are getting Akshay, right? So won't it be better that for this problem statement, if we divide these tables in this one, I just, even if I say I add one more ID, one more shop for the customer Akshay, and there she bought it for, let's say, a total of 560 something. Then for this, I only have to iterate through two rows basically to get the answers. And each time it will be something unique only. Correct? Or at max, we could say that even if Akshay went to Big Bazaar twice, there'll be two categories only for shop Big Bazaar. But so many redundant
So,
rows
ma'am,
which we had in this particular table will be removed because we broke this table into two tables here.
Ma'am,
here
how?
ID, shop, and customer and total are the unique. Why item and category are not unique in quantity? Because ma'am, these are same. ID, shop, and customer total, which is representing.
No, ID
Uh,
here in the second table, ID is used to refer to what shop we are considering, right? How will we know? Let's
yes,
say I
yes.
remove ID from here. We are only talking about item, category, quantity, price, and cost. Let's say, right? In that case, how will we refer back that which shop or which customer it is referring to?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, doesn't these tables come with some kind of naming and nomenclature
So,
instead of just attributes?
Yeah, we can add a name to the table, right? This can be the data set or the table for the shop information, and this can be the information for the, let's say, the buying habits
Customer
of
Akshay.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, Akshay,
so
but
ma'am, Akshay from
it will
Big
add
Bazaar.
date as an attribute.
Sorry.
Ma'am, for category, here are three categories rules are same. So can we take it to another table and make it another table?
And now again, you can break as much as you want, but we have to decide a point that is optimal for breaking. So this is something which you will understand much more depth in DVMS course and diploma level.
Okay.
So
Since
don't
it
worry
is,
about that right now.
I am
Yeah,
telling
don't worry.
since it is for one card, therefore all should be mentioned in the one table.
Yeah, so here we can consider this particular table to be the cart for Akshay when she went to Big Bazaar.
Okay.
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 for this particular transaction. So
One-
this
one
ID
valid-
refers to the transaction, right? This ID refers to the transaction. It is not unique to the Big Bazaar or unique to the Akshaya, right?
Yes.
This ID is the
For the
transaction.
customer.
Yeah. Now Akshaya can buy something in Sun Store also. For that case, ID will be different. And
Yes.
similarly, in Big Bazaar, we could have another customer also. For that case, also ID will be different. So this ID is unique to this transaction. That is why we are keeping this in the other table also, so that we can refer what this particular order is referring to, which shop and which customer. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
So we
Ma'am?
saw why we divide things. Yes.
Can we tell the ID number as the primary key?
Yes, we can consider ID number to be the primary key, but since for the purpose of computational thinking, we are not going into the notion of primary key, let us not confuse that with the DBMS nomenclature which is there. Okay.
Okay.
So one table has columns that are fixed for the bill. Again, you can go through the slides once on your own time to read everything. This is just a quick summary of what all is explained. And if you have any doubts, so the assumption is that you've already watched the videos and gone through these slides once. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So bill ID again links the table. This is done. So the summary here, I'll just go through this in the end, the last slide. Yeah, this is the total summary of this particular lecture. That is, the data on cards can be naturally represented using tables. We saw how to do that. Each attribute is a column in the table. That is what we talked about. Each card is a row in the table, which some of you are also referring to as case. So again, but focus on the nomenclature that is represented in the slides or in the lectures for the exam at least. Difficulty: if the card has a variable number of attributes and items in shopping bill, multiple rows, duplication of data, these are things which cause an issue. And what we do to resolve that issue is we split into separate tables so that we have multiple tables and each table represents something useful to us rather than having
Sorry, ma'am.
yeah, somebody has a question. Okay,
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
yes.
Ma'am, where can I watch this recorded videos, ma'am?
So all this is available on YouTube on the ITMBS page, which is there. You can see that in the live. Even currently, I think this is being streamed live, so you can see it there. Or
Thank
if
you, ma'am.
not right now, after the session, you can definitely see it there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
And even in your calendar, wherever you have joined this link from, you'll be able to see the YouTube recording session link also there.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so we can split it as separate tables and need to link where unique attribute. Okay. Next we have so procedure and parameters. All of you are aware with what a procedure is? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Procedure is something which
We delegate
we
work
Which
to the
execute a number of times
delegating work.
yeah, something
for
which we are
getting the
executing.
same task.
Yes, if let's say I have the same task which I want to do multiple times, instead of using that particular code again and again and again and again, what I can do is I can define that code inside a procedure, and I just need to call that procedure, and then that code will run automatically whenever that procedure is called. So let's say I need to modify that code and I'm using that procedure in multiple places. I just need to modify it once, and all the instances where it is being used will get modified automatically.
Ma'am, I want to know what is calling to
What is?
calling a procedure.
Calling a procedure basically means that whenever we have some lines of pseudocode, right, and in one particular line we need to execute something which is basically the procedure which we have defined. So in that case, we write the name of the procedure there along with whatever we are passing to that procedure parameters. We'll talk about that in a short while. And that particular thing is called calling it.
Okay, so you are telling the heading of the pseudocode.
Yes. So whenever we write that directly, it is considered calling.
Okay.
It's similar to the function, like importing a function in Python.
Yeah, exactly. But again, Python is something which will come after CT, right? So this assumption of this particular course is that you don't know anything about coding. We are just teaching you the logic behind how to code, irrespective of the language, irrespective of what interface you're using. This is the basic building blocks of how to go about any problem statement, any logical problem statement that you will be required to code in the future. Okay. So this is one particular code block or pseudo code, which you can say, which all of you will be familiar with by now. And this is the diagram or the flow chart for representing what this thing is doing here. Everybody is able to understand this much at least.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody need to explain what is happening here?
Ma'am, may I
Sorry.
ask? Me.
Yeah. So what? Could you
Okay,
just
ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
briefly explain what is happening here?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, here sum is in rise to 0. We are taking pi 1 as card or not. If we have
Yes.
it as card, we can pick a card as from pi 1 and move it to pi 2. And there is one condition that if the x dot gender is equal to male, means if the gender of card x is male, then we increment the sum x by math mark.
Exactly. So if we
Am I
have to
right?
talk about it in, yes, you're right. If we have to talk about it in one line, it basically means the heading, that is sum of all the maths marks of the boys in the class, right? Now
Yes, yes.
the
Sum
question
of
arises,
all boys.
what if, now question arises, what if we want to sum the maths marks for girls? Again,
We have to take
we need
M
to write,
instead of
we need
M.
to write, yes, we need to write F instead of M. Now for this, I have to write the same code with just one letter difference. Again, the same pseudocode I have to
Ma'am,
write
here
again.
gender is female.
Yeah, so in that case, we see some redundancies there, right? The rest of the code is exactly the same as the previous pseudocode, and we still have to write this whole new pseudocode. Is there a way to do this more optimally? Yes, so that is what basically procedure is doing. Let's say I, instead of F here, I just write X dot gender. In that case, instead of
Ma'am, may I know what is the meaning of redundancy?
redundancy basically means that if something is repeating again and again, a new piece of information is coming, but it is not adding anything to the complete information which we have.
Ma'am, so what is the difference between redundancy and iteration? Iteration is also running a program again and again, multiple times.
No. Iteration basically means that we are running a particular code block again and again, and we are changing something about it.
Okay.
Right? We are either incrementing a value for I, or we are moving from one card to another. That is an iteration,
Different
right?
task.
Yes.
Doing
And we
different
are
task.
adding that, we are adding the values which we are getting from there to some variable which is there. In this case, what we are doing is we need to find out two things: the sum of maths marks for boys and the sum of maths marks for girls. Now for this, all the code is same, only one letter is getting changed. The question here is, can we do something that where we can have a common piece of code and we can pass whatever we want to do? For example, if you come here, this particular procedure you talk about, it says some maths, and in the bracket it says gen, which basically means gender here. So if suppose in our code, pseudo code, we call some maths and in the bracket we say F or M, depending on what we want, then in this, basically half the number of lines of the original code which we had, pseudo code which we have for the same task, we can do this, right? So this is the syntax for procedure. We write procedure, name of the procedure, in the bracket we write whatever we are passing to that procedure. So in this case, we need some information what the question is asking for, that either it could be girls marks or it could be boys marks, right? So we will pass that particular variable, that what we want to ask, which particular gender we want the marks for, as the parameter of the procedure. So whatever is here in the bracket, it has to be the parameter. It can or cannot have a parameter. It is not necessary for a function to have a, or a procedure to have a parameter. So in this case, we have a procedure sum maths with the parameter gender. Everything else you see here is same. It's just that x dot gender here, instead of writing m or f, we are assigning it a variable which is gen. Now gen can be anything which we want based on what we are passing here. It can be either m or f. Okay. And then in the
Ma'am,
end, we write end the name of the procedure.
ma'am, return sum means like going back to sum equals to 0.
No. Return sum means that whenever we are calling this procedure, right? So another property of procedure is that it can return a value. Basically, in this particular thing, we are calculating some value of sum. How will we use this value? Whatever I'm getting here as sum, I need to give it to somebody, right? That is, somebody called this procedure. Let's say I call this procedure that okay, this is what I want to do. Now this particular procedure is bound to give that value of sum to me. So in order to do that in pseudocode, what we do is we can assign a variable to it. It's not necessary for a procedure to return something. Let's say there are some procedures in which we only want to do something or update some value which is there, but we don't want to attain that value anymore. So in that case, it need not return anything. But for this particular thing, we can assign this value to a variable which we will be using outside this procedure.
Ma'am,
So
so
return
after
sum
this
means that
new,
putting that value in that procedure.
so ma'am,
Like why we need
this,
procedure? We were also
That
doing the
is
same
that
thing.
is what
For
that is what I explained for the past 10 minutes, right? Why we need procedures. In order to remove the redundancy of writing the same code again and again with minimal changes.
okay.
ma'am,
Ma'am, so
here you told
does
that
meaning
return.
return sum?
Can you please first speak one by one?
I am telling that you told that. Can you navigate to the page? Yeah.
Which page?
This one. I am telling that you told the return should be given in the pseudocode for assigning the value to a different variable. So here, do you want to mean that after this procedure, another procedure is going to do
No,
going
not
to run?
necessarily another procedure itself, but whatever overall code which we have, right? So this will be a sub part of a bigger pseudocode. In a bigger pseudocode, we will have some things, and inside that, whenever we need to, we'll see that in the future slides. Okay, just a few slides down, I'll show you what it means.
Okay.
Let's just go there only. A lot of you might be having that doubt. So here, this is basically the argument which I talked about, the parameter or the argument. So gen is what this particular thing will receive, and that variable will be used inside, and it can be anything which we are assigning. Call procedure with parameter sum maths f. Argument variable is assigned to the parameter variable, and then procedure called sum maths implicitly starts with gender as f because we assigned it as f here. Okay, now procedure to sum physics marks. Okay, now this is something which they have done just for another case. Let me come to this part where we'll be using these. Here, calling a procedure. Okay, now this is our normal code block, a pseudocode which we write. Okay, now girl chem sum, basically the chemistry sum for girls. Here we will call sum marks. Sum marks is the procedure which we defined. And we are passing two parameters this time. This time we had already changed the code. So this is sum marks. It is taking two parameters now. One is gender and the other is field. What does field mean? Field means the subject here. It can be chemistry, physics, or maths. Everything else is the same. It's just that instead of sum of x dot chemistry here, which we had already defined earlier, we have kept it open-ended that it can be anything, FLD. Now here we passed chemistry, so in this case it will do sum for chemistry. So now you understand why we need sum marks, and whatever return sum value, whatever we will get, that will be assigned to this variable girl chem sum, which is equal to calling this particular variable.
Okay, and if return is not given in the pseudocode.
Then in that case, we will not normally be calling it. We won't be assigning it to any variable. We'll be calling it directly.
Okay, so here you are telling that after doing the first procedure, which is on the above side, it will come to the value of return sum will come to the second procedure.
So there
Hello?
is only one procedure. This particular thing is this is not a
No,
procedure.
you told na right.
This
Right
is a
now you
pseudocode.
told that return sum will be assigned to the value girl came sum and boy came sum.
Yes.
That's why
Now
I'm
these are
telling both
these
are
are
working
variables.
simultaneously.
No, not simultaneously. First girl chem sum will be called. So this particular code block will be called for F and chemistry. Once that
Hmm.
execution ends, the value
Hmm.
of return sum, whatever is the sum for females and chemistry, that will
Hmm.
be assigned to this variable. Now
Okay.
next thing will run boy chem sum, the same part of the code without the original values. Now this time it will be called with M and chemistry. So
Hmm.
here it will be, and here it will be X dot chemistry for that particular thing. We don't have to write this code again for these
Hmm.
things. We just need to pass it like this and it will work. The same
So
code will work. It
change
will
the
take less
argument
memory,
only.
right? Yes,
Yeah.
we change the argument only and it will take less memory in whatever coding we are doing.
Ma'am,
So here we
a small doubt. Why does it looks like a VB script? Is it a VB script? Because that's the only place where I saw ending of a function.
no. So this is basically the pseudocode. Now something such as VB can have things written in similar syntax to a pseudocode, but again, language to language, some variations are there.
Okay,
So
okay.
this is not a reference to any language. It is just a pseudocode. In no language
Okay,
you will
ma'am. Got
see
it.
pile 1 has more cards written logically, right, like this, right? So this is not any particular language.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
so the return sum technically like connects to pseudocodes.
This is a pseudocode for whatever we want to do. In this pseudocode,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
are calling a procedure, which we have already defined. This is also a pseudocode only, but yeah, consider it. Don't look at things like pseudocodes now. Pseudocode is a general name for whatever code we have. Uh,
Okay, ma'am.
let's say in our applications, this is a logic we define rather than using the word pseudocode, right? This is a logic we define. In this logic, we have defined, we want to reuse this particular thing which we called a procedure. This procedure, the logic for this procedure is defined here. So whenever we call this sum marks, it will go to this particular procedure wherever this will be in the memory. It will execute this. Whatever answer it will get from this, the sum value, it will return it and we come back to where we had called it and assign it to whatever this was equal to.
So,
Ma'am,
ma'am,
can I
whatever
ask?
value we assign, then it will go to the procedure, complete the procedure, then come back to the logic we assigned again.
Yes. So here F chemistry, it will go to procedure. Sum marks F chemistry will be called. This whole thing will run with gen equal to F and FLD equal to chemistry. And then for that particular execution, there will be some value. There will be some number assigned to the variable sum, and that particular value will be assigned to girl chem sum here.
So, ma'am, it will
Ma'am,
be run for both girls and boys, right?
Yes, first it will be run for girls, and then the same code will be run for boys with different values of the attributes or the
Okay,
parameters.
then the if it is
Yes, then we will go
girl
to
chem
if.
marks is
Yes,
greater.
this
Okay.
is the
ma'am,
core
ma'am,
logic what we want to do.
Okay.
we are like ending some marks. The procedure we started at the
Mhm.
beginning, we are ending
Yes,
this at the last, right?
yes,
Ending some marks. So this is
yes.
here
This is the
we are
syntax for writing the code.
like we are pulling out our procedure, which we call it.
Yeah, so this basically marks the end of the procedure. You can consider this just to be, the way of writing it, the syntax for this particular thing in a pseudocode. Just like in while
Okay.
we write, right, something in the bracket, we have to write, then we have to put curly braces and all. So all this is just to denote something. So similarly, end some marks denotes the end of a procedure for us.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next. So we saw how we are calling it. We saw how we assign the return value. It may not return a value necessarily. Okay. And let's say again some example here. Why when it does not return a value. Let's say there is a procedure called update marks that for one particular card ID, and a subject I gave that okay for card ID number 5 for subject chemistry, I want to update the marks to let's say 50. Currently, I don't know what the marks are. I want to update them to 50. So we can write a procedure for this. This particular procedure need not return anything. So we will just call this without assigning anything. We don't need any equal to here. We will just call this in the code. It will go to update marks, and it will simply override the current marks with 88. So here 17 card physics marks are overridden to 88. Okay, got it? Now we'll just go through the summary of this particular lecture also. So we can see that procedures are pseudocode templates that work in different situations. Delegate work by calling a procedure with appropriate parameters. We talked about what parameters are. We can, based on what we want to do, we can send different parameters to the same procedure again and again and get different results. Calling a procedure we talked about here. If we don't have a return value, we can directly call the procedure like this. We don't need to assign it to another variable. Whenever we are assigning it to another variable, it means that it is returning something, and that value which is being returned, we want to put it here. Procedures to help modular. So this is what the purpose of procedure is. Modularize pseudocode. Modularize means we are breaking up our pseudocode into different modules which are doing certain tasks. So instead of writing the same code again and again and again with some variable names changed, what we are trying to do is we are trying to figure out how we can write less code and just use certain attributes and certain procedures to repeat that execution of that code in a modular manner. So avoid describing the same process repeatedly. If we improve the code and procedure, benefit automatically applies to all procedure calls. So this is again one very important thing. Let's say you wrote a piece of code and there was some error in it, and you had copied that code for all the implementations. You wrote a code for boys marks, and instead of greater than equal to, you just wrote greater than. Now the logic is wrong there. And that same code you had already copied for girls also, girls physics also, girls chemistry also. Now when you make changes to one particular code, you have to manually go and change all the other codes also. Otherwise the logic will be wrong there. Correct?
Yes.
So whenever we have just one particular piece of code and all the other as a procedure, and all the other calls are referring to that same procedure, we can just make changes in one particular place and it will be executed everywhere. This is the benefit of modularity. It removes redundancy, and when we remove redundancy, the error also decreases. So this was lecture 3.6. The others were, I think, tutorial only. Next we move
Ma'am,
on.
hello.
Next one. Yes.
In the procedure were called for computer or for human, because I am asking this because there is written sum, and in the update mask there was not given as return. So how can computer understand that whether it has to return the value? That's why
No,
I'm
so
asking.
if it will have for the computer, right? If it will have something to return, it will return it,
Okay.
right?
So it understands whether it had to assign the value by watching at the return.
So just a second, I'll show you again. So here we had this, right?
At the last page.
At the last page. So in girl chem sum, we in sum marks procedure, we had written.
Yeah.
We had written that particular function, so we knew it was returning something. And whenever it is returning something, we want that useful information and we want to put it into some variable. So whenever we are calling this, we will use equal to sign and assign it to something. But when update marks we know we are not returning anything. We are just doing implementing some logic. It will already override the code which we have, or the data set which we have, and we don't want to return anything. It got updated. That is all. We don't want to tell anything to the code again. So in
It
that
is
case, we
just
will assign
replacing
it.
the current value.
Yes. Okay. So the other two lectures, basically the pseudocodes for these are just examples. 3.7 and 3.8 here are just examples for two problems. You can go through them on your own once. And I'll move on to the side effects of procedures, and then we can solve some activity questions and in the remaining half an hour. Okay. Now, what are side effects? Whenever we run any particular pseudocode, right? some actions are happening in that procedure. We defined a procedure sum marks. This is exactly the same thing which we talked about previously. And some things are happening, some logic is happening here, that okay, if this is this, sum is this, right? We are moving something to pile 2, we are picking a card from pile 1. We are basically moving whatever data we have from one place to another. If just look at it in your mind as the card example which we saw, right? So there is a pile of cards. We took one card from the top, we did something with it, we put it in another pile. Then we took one more card, we put it to another pile. So the order and everything is getting changed now of the if you pick pile 2 is not exactly the same as pile 1, right?
It will be inverse of it, basically.
In this case it
Top.
will be inverse, but let's say uh, we try to shuffle it or do something with it, right? In that case it will be different, correct? So basically
Yep.
we are changing the order or the basically the alignment of whatever cards which we have using these two lines. Now this is something which we can call to be a side effect, that okay, we executed this procedure and something changed. So how okay, we had that code, two parameters were there. uh, it works for a fixed set of cards, and we pass the deck of cards through a third parameter, okay, which is the scene deck. Now they introduced one more thing as deck in the parameter, and you can see the change in pseudocode here. They passed one more deck here, and that while deck has more cards, we pick the card and we move X to scene deck, that is pile 2. In this case, they have this is pile 1 and pile 2. Instead of pile 1 and pile 2, they've written it is deck. Why? We will see further. Now this third parameter deck, what it is doing is new variable assigning scene deck for a second pile. Deck is modified as the procedure executes. So this is basically a way for us to see that as we execute this particular procedure, deck gets modified to scene deck, right? So the order gets changed. That is what we talked about in the beginning, right? Now in this case, deck will become empty after I execute this complete procedure.
Yes.
Now whenever we want to pass deck again, this particular deck and the scene deck, which now it has been changed to, they'll be different. The order
It will
will
be
be
get
different.
reversed.
Yes, it will be it will get reversed. So now in this case, what we want to do is, since deck becomes empty, at the end of execution of this, deck becomes empty and scene deck is there, right? And in the next procedure, we are passing deck only again, but deck is empty now. So we have to write one line here to restore deck from scene deck. Because we want again, in the next code, we will be using pile 1 again, right? So that particular deck is empty now. We want to put all the cards back to the first deck instead of the scene deck, so that we can run things again and again and again. And by now the next question arises, whenever we are doing this, is this sufficient? Why is this not sufficient? And if it is sufficient, why is it sufficient? So in order to answer that question, we get into what side effects are. Is each card the same as it was before? Yes, the cards are the same. Sequence of card, is it the same before? Maybe not. It can be the same, but
No.
maybe it is not the same. It all depends on what we mean by restore deck. Whenever we are writing this, right, restore deck from scene deck, we are not defining how we are restoring. We can either try to have it as it is, which is the inverse order which you talked about. We can either inverse it again and have the original order, or let's say we are shuffling it entirely. We don't know what restore here means, right? It's an ambiguous term. How we are restoring the deck, we are not defining it anywhere. So what it basically means is that this deck
Ma'am,
and
deck
the
is
deck,
empty in them. That's why we can restore it.
yeah, we are restoring it, but how are we restoring it? It is not defined, right? What order we are restoring it is not defined. It's just whatever we can
Yes,
guarantee
ma'am,
is if
scene
there were
deck is
30
not
cards.
defined.
Yes. So whatever
That's
we can
fine, ma'am.
guarantee is that if we had 30 cards in the beginning, we will have 30 cards in the end. But whether the order or the indexing or the logic behind that 3 cards is same or not, that we cannot guarantee. So in
So,
this,
ma'am,
again, it is saying,
scene that, ma'am, it is not defined, ma'am, no, ma'am.
no, we are defining scene deck, right? That is what we did in the beginning.
Okay.
Scene deck, move to scene deck we are doing.
Okay.
But
Sorry.
now deck became empty and scene deck had everything. So we need to restore deck now because we'll be reusing it again, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now side effect of a procedure basically modifies some data during its computation. So deck was a data point which we had, the total data which we had. It got modified when we executed this procedure.
So, ma'am, it become as
And
empty after.
first it became empty, and then whenever we restored it also, the order got impacted. Basically, that pile was not the same as before. Consider
No,
this
ma'am.
as when you play cards, right? When you play cards, initially you played some cards where everybody basically gives their card backs after a game, and you put it again in the deck. That deck is not the same as before, right? Something changed due to the game.
Ma'am, order has changed.
Yes, the order has changed. So now sometimes the changing of the order might not impact, but sometimes it may impact depending on
Yes,
what you
ma'am.
want to do in the code. So this is basically side effect. How side effects work, why the side effects are useful, not useful.
Yes, ma'am, here
We'll
is
see
said
further throughout.
sequence.
We'll
Sequence or
see
order
throughout.
can get disturbed.
But let us speak.
So does it matter? Not in this case. Again, in for the sum marks, it does not matter because each thing represents something uniquely. But we might have other examples where this could be a problem. Let's say the procedure itself wants to arrange the cards in a decreasing order of total marks. In that case, whenever we are restoring deck here and we are not defining what restore here means, we are changing the order of the total marks after the execution of this particular pseudocode. That is not ideal. So this particular case of side effect is not something which we want. And a side effect could be, this basically means that a side effect could be undesirable also. In the previous case, we are saying that even though we are arranging things, right? So earlier it was random and we arranged it. Something changed, right? Something changed. Everybody is agreeing with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am,
Now
order.
Yes, ma'am.
that particular change was something which we wanted. That is what the procedure was doing. So that is why it was a goal. Sometimes the side effect is the end goal. Similarly, let's say we already had the total marks and we did something with it, and now the order is not in the decreasing order. That is an undesirable side effect. We pass a deck arranged in decreasing order of total marks to that particular procedure which is there, and now the marks are not in the decreasing order because it got restored. So these are the
Why,
kind of side effects which we have. Yes.
why are we calling it a side effect of procedures? Because this can happen to any program that we write.
Yeah, that's true. That can happen to any program. But here we are procedure again. If you talk about programming, right? Procedures are functions. So whenever
Mm-hmm.
we are passing something to the functions, we try
Mm-hmm.
to pass a particular copy, right? And whatever we are getting in return for that, let's say we passed a deck
Yeah.
here. Whatever we are
Mm-hmm.
getting in return for that, we're expected to use that in some or the other way. Now, when that gets changed, we have to keep in mind if it's changing in the correct way or not, because when we are passing things again, we are passing a either we are passing a different copy of the same set of things, or we could even be passing by reference there. Again, that nuance you will understand when you take up maybe in the future weeks itself. But there are two ways to pass variables, right? One, we are passing the value itself, and one, we are passing the reference. So in those
Reference, right?
cases, these side effects will cause a lot of issues. If you don't
Okay.
intend that side effect, right, you'll have to see the code very go through what the code is doing, and we have to make sure it's not doing something we are not intending it to do. In some cases it might not cause an issue, but in some edge cases it might cause a lot of issues. This is where
This
code breaks.
this is actually
Hello, ma'am.
why that was the question on at the start of the lecture, ma'am. The second graded assignment and the seventh question. This is
Okay.
probably something that I want to know about it.
Okay, we can,
Yes,
if
ma'am. Ma'am,
if time permits, we can take it up.
if deck is,
Sorry.
ma'am, if the deck is in ascending order, then after restoring it, we get arranged in descending order.
Again, that is a side effect, right? So see, every change basically here, whenever deck is changing, we are referring to it as a side effect. Now that could be something which does not impact anything. We don't care what order it is, or depending on the problem statement which we have defined, it may or may not be the goal or undesirable also. Sometimes you want to have that side effect, that is the purpose of the thing. So again, don't consider side effect to necessarily be a negative thing. Sometimes it could be the thing we want to do, but again, sometimes uh, it could be something
Oh,
which
side
is not
effect can be
intended at all.
positive also.
Yes, like here, right? Sometimes the side effect is the end goal. That is what we want to do. Okay. So next,
Okay,
I
ma'am.
think these are more of just terms which you should go through once. Each procedure comes with a contract. Some functions will be passed and something is expected in return. If it is not expected, then again, we will not assign it to a variable. We discussed that. Data integrity, can the procedure have side effects? Is the nature of the side effects predictable? That could be reversed. So basically, our job as programmers or as somebody who's building logic is to predict the side effects that a particular data can have, so that it can reduce the errors and we can account for the edge cases.
Can we overcome this side effect?
Yeah, if we figure out what is causing the side effect, we can overcome it definitely, right? Depending on the
Okay.
context of the question.
Okay.
So can change procedure implementation provided interface is unaffected. Okay. Now side effects, again, some example of side effects we've taken up here: associating personal pronouns with nouns. And you can go through this example once. If you have any doubt, you can ask on discourse for this particular one. Summary here is that we need to separate the interface and the implementation part. Interface describes the contract, parameters which are to be passed, the values to be returned, what side effects are possible. But we need to focus that the implementation should be clear enough that these side effects are not unintended. Sometimes no guarantee is needed, sometimes no side effect is tolerated, and sometimes the side effect is the goal. Okay. So this was the content part. I'll try to go through, we have half an hour left. I'll try to go through some activity questions if possible, so that you get some idea of what these concepts can be done in terms of questions. So
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking the summary.
yeah, sure.
Ma'am, for clearing the
Uh,
content first.
okay, so activity question 3.1, I'll just briefly go through things here so that you understand how to go about it. If it requires a lot of calculation, I think it will be counterintuitive to solve everything. So okay, activity is okay. So first of all, does anybody have some people were saying there were questions in previous week also, right? Let's go through that first, because this can be done in the next one also. So in week 2, basically, do you have any particular doubt?
Graded question, ma'am. Graded assignment question 2.
Okay,
Sorry, question 7.
Graded assignment question 7. The deadline has passed, right?
Yeah, we have already done it.
Okay. Question number
7.
Okay. The following
So,
flowchart is executed using the scores dataset. Assume that Rita and Siddharth both have scored the lowest total marks across the whole dataset, which is 173. Now let cards are arranged in such a way that Rita's card is below Siddharth's card. What will be the value of A and B at the end of this execution? Yes, so here in this case, we have start, we have defined A and B. File 1 is empty. Till it's not empty, we keep doing this again. Pick the top card. X dot total is less than equal to A. So X dot total will be less than equal to A for pretty much any card, because nobody, I think it's very rare that somebody will be scoring full, right? So incrementally, we will keep on, if it is less, then we assign A as X dot total and B dot name. So basically, A here is the total marks, B here is the name of the student. And our goal here is to find the minimum marks, and we are saying that Rida's card is below Siddharth's card, which means that Siddharth's
exactly.
card is comes first in the execution
Yep.
in that particular order. So as soon as I get that X dot total less than equal to A, first the Siddharth part will get updated. So the first update here will be B is equal to X dot name will be Siddharth, and 173 will be A, right? But since Rida's card comes after that, and we are not stopping the execution. We have not put any condition here, right? That when A is 173, stop. We are still finding that okay, there might be something less than 173 also. So in that case, we keep moving further after Siddharth also. Then we will reach Rida, and then the same thing will get executed again. X dot total in that case is less than equal to A, which is true. If it were less than A here, in that case, Siddharth would have been the answer. Because 173 is not less, right? It's the same. In that case, Siddharth would have been the answer. That is the first instance would have been taken up. But it's less than equal to. So in that case, we go to Rida, and A will be 173, B will be Rida.
Okay, got it, ma'am. That was the ending of the loop was probably something that I got caught up in. I
Yes,
chose
yes.
Siddharth.
So Siddharth, after we get Siddharth's card, the loop will not end. The loop is ending when all the cards are moved to pile 2.
Yeah, got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Any other doubts in week 2 questions?
I have doubt in week 3.
Graded 3. This one?
Week 3.
Okay, week 3, which graded or practice or activity questions?
AQ 3.4.
Activity 3.4. This one?
First question, yes. In the first question, I have given the option as D, but expected option is B and D. May I know why?
So it's a multiple select question. If A, B, and C are 3 candidates who have obtained the 3 prizes. Now, first of all, who will tell me what the 3 prize problem was? Any one person, please speak up. Don't speak together.
Ma'am, it was in the lecture. It was told by the professor that to decide whether top 3 are willing to get the reward or not, they have to be a combination of girls and boys, and
Yes.
they should be get at least they should at least top in one of the subjects among one of the
Yes.
subjects, and the overall they should top in
Okay.
the class.
Yeah. So these were the conditions which we had. Everybody is clear with them. So now, assuming that if A, B, and C are 3 candidates who have obtained the 3 prizes, that means at least one of them is a girl,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which of the following statements are true? A is true. All 3 are girls.
It is
That
false.
could be that. No.
All 3 cannot be girls. No, there is
could
a
be.
combination.
Okay. Does it specifically say?
Yeah.
Till we get 3 at least at least one boy, and all 3 can't be girls. At least one of them is a boy. That is true.
It is true, I thought, but I am not given this answer because at least one of them is a boy, means then 3 may be a boy. That is not specifically mentioned
No.
in
At
the
least one
option.
of them is a boy means anyone can be a boy,
Okay.
right?
Okay, got it. And then question number 3.
Question number 3. Okay, so
I
here
have
we
given the
have.
option. I have given the answer as 3, but answer is 1.
Okay, let's go to the question. Okay. Let max 1, max 2, and max 3 represent 3 variables that keep track of the maximum maths marks such that max 1 is greater than max 2 is greater than max 3. The current values are given. Let us assume that we always compare a new card with max 1 first, then with max 2, and finally with max 3. A new card is now picked and has the marks as 95. How many pairwise comparisons among the variables are needed? Okay, so in this case, at first, whatever new card is there, it will be compared with max 1. That is what this says, right? That first the new card will be compared with max 1, then max 2. Whenever it is compared with max 1, we already know it is greater than max 1. So now we will update max 1 to be equal to 95. We will update max 2 to be 89, and then max 3 to be 78.
Yes.
Right? So comparison is only one, right? Even though we are changing 3 variables, comparison is happening only once. As soon as we find out that the new card is greater than max 1, we know that whatever max 3 we have 67, it is no longer the third highest. So first of all, we will discard max 3, we will put max 2 in max 3, then we will put max 1 in max 2, and then we will put the new value in max 1.
Ma'am,
Right?
I gave the answer 3 because I thought that first we have to compare the new card with Max 1, then Max 1 to Max 2
No, no, no. We
comparison,
don't
then
need to
Max
do
2
that, right?
with
We are
Max 3.
already given. We are already given this. We don't need to compare that. We know
Mhm.
that max 1 is greater than max 2 is greater than max 3, so we will simply update it. We don't need to compare.
Okay, so comparison is for only the first one.
Yes. If this would not have
Hello,
been
ma'am.
given,
I'm
right,
also
that we
doubt.
don't know the order
But
of max.
in the basic level, I have understood your words. But in the basic level, we have to compare 95 with 89. Then after updating that, we have to again compare 89 with 78.
No, we will
Then
not update
78
that.
with
No,
67.
no. First of all, whenever we are consider what is happening here. First, what we'll do is we will compare 95 with max 1, which is 89.
Hmm.
And we see that it is greater than. So logically think what is happening. We have already been given with 3 marks which we know are in order. Max 1 is
Yes.
the first highest, max 2 is the second highest, max 3 is the third highest. Now
Yes.
we figure that there is one above max 1 also. So the first thing which we know from this is that max 3 is no longer the third highest marks.
Yes.
So we will update max 3, and we know that now 78, what the second highest marks which is there, that will be the third highest marks now.
Yes.
So the first thing which we'll be doing is we will update max 3 as 78. We will not update max 1 first, because if we update max 1 as 95, we have
But
lost
we have
89.
given na that new card first with Max 1, then Max 2, then
No,
Max
no.
3. In the bottom
If
side,
needed,
it will be.
if needed.
But here written always compared.
No, where is it written? Let us assume that we always. So first we compare it with max 1, right? If it is
Yeah.
already greater than max 1, why do we need to do any other comparisons?
No, no, I am telling after comparison 95 with 89, then we change the value of 89 to 95. Then
No. We are not changing that. That is what I'm saying,
updating.
right? No, if suppose we saw that okay, 95 is greater than 89 and we updated 89 by 95. Now where is 89 now? 89 is gone. How will you know what to update max 2 with?
Yes,
89 is no variable.
I am telling on that point only that after updating the marks to 95 Max 1, then we have to compare 89 with 78 for Max 2.
Where is 89 then? Okay, look at it this way. Here.
89 will be there, no, because
No, it will
67
won't be
is.
there. No, it won't be there. I'll show you. Max 1 will be 89. Okay. Just a second. You're able to see my screen, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Excalibur screen. Max 1 is 89. Max 2 was what? Can somebody tell me
78.
the numbers?
78.
28. And max 3 was what?
67.
67.
And
Now
new card
new
is
card is there.
95.
New is 95. This much is clear. You are
Yes.
saying we compare max 1 with new. We see that max 1 is greater than, new is greater than max 1. And we update max 1 to be 95. We updated it.
Yes.
Now where is 89? What will you compare? If you compare max 2 with max 1 now, max 1 is already changed. 89 is lost forever. So this is
Yes.
not the order in which we will be executing. This one was 89. What we'll do is we will first check. Yes, new is greater than max 1. And we know max 1, max 2, max 3 are already in order. So we just checked one. We will first update this. This is a value which we don't want anymore, 67. Rest two values we still want in max 3, max 2. But 67 we don't want because we are only looking for top 3 marks. So top 4th marks we don't care about.
Okay.
67 we will remove. 78. Now max 2 and max 1, we don't need to compare it because we already know the order. It is given in the question. So now we will update max 2 as 89.
Oh,
This
because
will be
you
the
are
order of
telling that
execution.
since Max 1 is greater than Max 2 is greater than Max 3 is given in
Yes,
question. That's why.
exactly. Now we will update this as new. This will be the order of execution. Otherwise, if it is any other particular order of execution, then the answer will be wrong.
Then in the bottom side, it is written as later as assume always compare a card with first with Max 1, then Max 2, then first Max 3 because it is for comparison, not for
Yeah,
updating,
this
right?
is this is just for comparison. Updates will be
Okay.
3 only. Updates will be 3 only because anyway, if we figure out that okay, something is greater, we have to update, right? If it would have been greater than max 2, then 2 updates would have been there. If it would have been greater than max 3, then only 1 update would have been there. but we are talking about comparison. So we just compared with 1. Since it was greater, we already knew the order in which we want to make the changes now. We don't need any more comparisons because we know this information. If this information would not have been there, then we had to make other comparisons also. And depending on the
Okay.
question, we'll have to
If
calculate.
it was not given that max 1 is greater than max 2 is greater than max 3,
Then
if it was
some
not
other,
given.
then depending on the context, then some other context would have been defined that what is basically the way of comparing.
Okay. Ma'am, question number 8.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, I have one doubt.
In question number 3.
yes.
Okay.
Ma'am,
What doubt do you have?
Ma'am, if 95 less than 89,
Okay, so if you're saying some number was between 78 and 89, let's say 80,
no.
then
I want to say if 95 less than 89, then we compare 95.
but 95 is not less than 89, right?
Yes.
You are saying if instead of 95 we had something which was less than 89.
Yes.
So let's say 80, right?
Yes.
So let's say we had new as 80 here instead of 95. In that case, we would have first compared it with max 1. It is less than
Yes.
max 1. We will not update max 1. Now we will compare it with max 2. Now
Yes.
again, it is not greater than max 2 for at least in this particular case. Okay, this is the updated one that I'm talking about. Okay, let me go back to the original one. 89, 78, 67. 89, 89, 78 and 67.
57.
So first we compare it with 89. It is not greater than 89, so we will not do anything to max 1. Next we check with max 2. It is greater than 78. In that case,
Yeah.
this will become 78 first, and then this will become 80. 2 comparisons will be needed and 2 updates will be needed. Your voice is breaking if you're saying something.
Answer is 2.
Yeah, answer for this case is 2, not the original question.
Oh, ma'am, I have doubt on question number 8.
Okay.
Ma'am, few of us are raising hands also.
Sorry?
Ma'am,
So I can't really come back to the screen again and again since there are so many students and it's a Zoom interface instead of Gmeet. I'm not sure how to see the order of the hands raised.
Ma'am,
And either way, I have to just keep switching screens, right? So it doesn't really make sense. I just hope you guys can mutually decide and come in order.
ma'am, I
Ma'am,
want
may I ask?
in this question.
Let's move with the question number 8 once, and once this is done, we can continue. So
In this question, I want to verify the concept. Can you go through the question once? Then I will tell.
okay, now repeat all parts of the previous question by okay. So this is first of all a multi-part question. 6 is there, 7 is there, and 8 is there. Changing the order of comparison of the 3 variables. This is, let us assume that we always compare a new card. Okay, first with max 3, then with max 2, then finally with max 1. Now a new card is picked from pile 1 and the maths marks are as that has 95 marks. And after making this update, another card comes up with 50 as the maths marks. How many pairwise comparisons are needed to update all variables? Okay, note that each pair
In this
consists of
question,
a card.
I have taken the concept as since after comparing 50 marks card we have 50 with max 3 and max 3 doesn't get updated, and since we don't need to compare it anymore, right?
No, so if if it is already less than max 3, then we don't need to compare it anymore. Yes, logically
Okay.
we don't need to compare.
Then the pair is 1, which is 50 marks card with max 3.
Yeah.
Yes, therefore,
mean,
here in the question it is told that all variables are updated. Then the answer will be 0, no? since nothing is updated because max 3
No.
is
This is not updated. This is how many comparisons are needed. This is
how
not
many
about updating.
comparisons, pairwise comparison are needed to update all variables are written now? All variables therefore
Yes.
update all variables.
Yeah. So
So
what is your doubt in this?
I am telling that here all
This is
variables
also
are told
this is
equal to
also a
0, no?
multi-part question, right? No. Comparison, at least one comparison always we have to make, right? Even if it is with max 3,
Yes, but we are
there is
not
at least one
updating.
comparison. So what if even if we are not updating, the comparison is still there? This is asking about comparisons, right?
I have understood that what here written are needed to update all variables. Therefore, I thought that it since it is not getting updated, that it will be.
No. That is just a nuance in the way the question is written. The focus on the pairwise comparisons are needed to update all the variables. Assume even if it is kept the same, assume that particular thing is still a pairwise comparison.
Okay. So in this question, is it ambiguity question?
No. This won't really be ambiguous. Even if it is not getting updated, are needed to update. So even if we had to update, we are assuming that okay, we had to update. We will focus on the number of comparisons.
Okay. So first of all, we are moving to the pseudocode for getting in the hope of updating. No, that's why it is
Yes.
told.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
So, ma'am, I have one doubt. Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, I have doubt in activity 3.1, question number 1.
Activity 3.1.
Question number 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Just give me a second. So let us assume that we are working with a new data set similar to the scores data set. This data set is given to us in the form of cards. Each card has F fields and there are N cards in the data set. The data set is to be represented as a table with the fields in the card as the columns. How many rows will the table have? It will have N rows, right? Is N the right answer here?
Ma'am, I have given it n plus f, so it was
Why?
marked wrong. Huh?
Why do you think it should be N plus F? Can you explain the logic behind it?
Ma'am, because I think that each card has f field and there are n cards in data set. So
No,
we can
there are N cards, right? In the beginning of the session itself, we discussed that the number of rows are basically the number of cards which are there. The fields will be there already, right? Here, if you
Yes,
go
ma'am.
back to this particular one, first one. In this, there are 3 rows, right? So 3 cards. We don't care about
Yes,
how
ma'am.
many columns are there. So we are not adding F. Only N number of rows will be there. The number of columns are F. The
Yes,
number of
ma'am.
rows are N.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, if it is told that number of entry, then it would be n into f, no?
Number of entries.
Yes. Then it would
Yes.
be
In
n
that
into
case,
f.
it will be N into F. Yeah, N into F.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
In activity 3.8, question number 5.
3.8, question number 5. Yes. For some arbitrary card execute the following statement. Subject topper. Subject topper is defined where? Where is subject topper defined?
It is based on the lecture.
Okay, so let me go through the slides then. Can you tell me in which lecture it is defined? I'll have to see the code for subject topper first.
Lecture 3.8.
3.8 subject topper.
Ma'am, the code context should have been given on the left side, right? In
Yeah,
such
ideally it
cases.
should have been given. Yes. Subject topper. Okay, 3.8, right?
Just search for topper, ma'am, instead of subject topper.
3.8, 3.8, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Oh, so I'm looking for subject topper only, right? Topper, other things could also be there. I'll have to keep looking at it. So it's 17th slide, but it'll take some time to load, I think. It has searched it, but it'll take some time to load. Just give it a minute. Okay. Is this is top 3 marks? I still don't see subject topper here. Can somebody tell me the page number if possible, please? Okay, if subject topper. Okay, subject topper is already defined here, which means it should be above this itself.
On the same sequence. From that only which page you navigate first.
Sorry?
So
the page we have which you have navigated first, that is only
17th page, right? But
yes.
where is subject
I
topper in
think
this?
no, he's talking about
no
the later on page.
previously you have
Okay, just stop me when that page comes, okay?
Yeah.
This is top 3 marks. Okay, this is
after this.
Yes, go. Yes,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
this one,
this
this
is
one.
calling subject toppers, right?
Exactly. So the procedure might be given below
Calling.
it.
Below it, whenever it's calling something, it should have been defined before that itself, right?
I mean,
New
the
procedure.
exact place it is already.
Only if top 3 in some subject, new procedure, subject topper. Okay.
Yes, I
Okay.
think here X represent the card ID.
This one.
Yeah. Okay. This is the subject topper which we have. Subject topper X000 is given, which is card, M marks, physics marks, and chemistry marks. Now, what would be the return values from top to bottom? So first of all, for X, we have 000. X again does not matter here because we're just checking for that particular card. And 000, if greater than equal to or return true. So for the
All
first one, it will
false.
be true. Why all false? 0 greater than equal to
It's
0.
greater than, right? There is it's comparing to something. M marks are supposed to be given, right? Oh, it's an argument. My bad. I confused it with
Yeah,
something.
so that is what 0 is giving, right? So X will
Yeah.
always be greater than equal to 0. It will be true, true, true.
Got
Right?
It could be equal to 0 also because
Yeah,
on
even
the
in that case,
card.
it will be true, right? That is what it has been given.
Yeah.
The card, so basically X, the maths marks for X will always be greater than
Sorry,
equal
ma'am,
to
can you
0.
repeat? I couldn't hear you.
So here, basically what we are doing is we are checking if for X card, the marks for maths, chemistry, and physics, all 3 are greater than equal to 0 or not, which will always be true. Marks can't be less than 0, right? Assuming there's no negative marking, which in this case there is not.
Right.
So that will always be true. According to the pseudocode itself, we can see that it will always return true. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And now the second one, X100 Now cart dot maths. So this will only be true if, let's say, somebody has 100 marks in maths, and in the other two we don't care what the marks are, right? Right?
Right.
Pardon?
Ma'am, this is not a loop and we are not breaking out of the loop. So if it's already 0 in the first, we have to just compare like the same
It's
candidate.
already if yeah, it's not a loop, right? So let's say card max or greater than M mark. M mark here is given as 100. So we need to have some information about the maths marks of the card to get to know whether this is true or not,
Correct.
right? But this is a or statement here. Even if this is false, the other two are true, that we know. So the final answer will be true, true, true,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, interesting.
right?
Right.
So again, the first one is true, second one is true. Now we just have to check for the third one. So either it's A or it's C.
C.
Or for till now, it can be E also. Let's go through the third line first. Subject topper. Now for this particular X, we have 0. This will return true. 50 will return, we don't know, it could be true or false. Again, 70 could also be true or false. But at least one of them is returning true and it's an OR comparison. So it will return true. So the answer will be C. Just because it is or comparison. If it would have been and comparison, then it would have been E.
Ma'am, but here 0 represents if M marks is greater than 0.
No, not
Or
M
P
marks.
marks is
The card marks. It represents that for card X, are the marks greater than 0, greater than equal to 0? If yes, then return true. For any, even for any one of them, if it is greater than equal to 0,
Yes,
return
for
true.
the second one, it is true. Getting true. Means
Yes,
for
for
the
all of
subject
them it
about
is
X
true.
100.
Yes, for
And
all
for
of
math, it is 100, ma'am.
no. Again, it is OR condition, right? Even if maths marks is, let's say, for one particular X. Let me change this. Let's say X dot maths marks are 50. Let's say X dot chem marks are 67. Let's say X is very good in physics and the physics marks are 100. Okay. So for this particular case, let us run whatever we had in the pseudocode. Card dot maths 50 is greater than equal to 100. True. For the first case. Okay, so first of all, in which line are you having the doubt? In the three of this, which do you want me to run for this?
First and third.
First and third you want me to run.
In
For
the
the
place
first,
of 0, getting confused.
so this 0 is referring to M mark. This is what we are passing, right? Don't confuse that with the marks of the student. It is the marks we are giving to compare. M mark is something which we are passing as 0. Okay, let me write this also. These are three things. These are other three things. M mark 0. We are passing this as 0. P mark 0 and C mark 0.
Yeah.
Now we are comparing these two things.
Okay.
That is X dot maths greater than M mark?
Yes.
Greater than or equal to M mark? It is.
Yes.
Is X dot chem greater than equal to M mark?
Yes.
Is X dot physics greater than equal to M
Yes.
mark? Yes. Always true. This was the first line. Come to the second line now.
Okay.
Subject topper X 100 0 0. In this case, we are P mark, yes. In this case, we have this as 100. The rest two are 0.
Okay.
Now compare. Is X dot maths greater than M mark? No, it is not. This
False.
particular thing is false. Is X dot chem greater than C mark?
Yes.
This
Yes.
consider order here. It is true. And since we had OR statement here, even one true will make all of them true. If will return true.
Yeah.
So again, this second line will also return true. Come to the third
Okay.
one. We have 0, 50 and 70 here. Here we have 0, we have 50 and we have 70. Now again, the first one is true.
Yes, ma'am.
It will be true.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
don't even need to compare the other ones. It will always be true.
So all are true.
Yeah, even if in this case the chemistry marks would have been less, right? Let's say chemistry would have been 40 here. This, even if this was
Since
false, even if this
operator is
was
used.
50 false, yeah.
Ma'am, even it is also true. Because
Yeah,
one
this is
condition
also true.
satisfying it.
Yes, so the answer is true, true, true. Even for any arbitrary card, we don't need to even know the values of X for this to be true. Got it?
So option number C is right.
Yes, option number C is right. So I think we can conclude the session with this.
Thank
We
you,
are
ma'am.
Ma'am, I have
already
only one question on AQ 3.7, question number 2.
three. Okay, this is the last doubt
Last,
I'll be taking.
yeah,
After
yeah,
this, I'll be ending the session then. Because
last
we're already up the time. Okay, AQ 3.7, question number.
question number 2.
Okay. Using the procedure max marks FLD discussed in the lecture, we compute the following expression: max marks for maths plus physics plus chemistry minus total. What can you say about the outcome of the above expression? Okay. Now, what we are doing here is whatever maximum marks a student is getting in maths, we are adding that to whatever maximum marks in physics plus chemistry and then subtracting the total maximum marks which is there. Now, this need not be zero. This is obvious, right? Because different students can have different thing, right? So maybe maths marks is total maths marks is 100, total physics marks is 97, total chemistry marks is, let's say, 96. But the overall total marks that a student is scoring is could be different. It need not be the sum, because not the same student is scoring everything,
Yes.
right?
Ma'am, in this condition, if a student who is topper in total and also topper in 3 of them, in all 3,
Yeah, in
then
that
it
case it will be
becomes
zero.
0.
In that case it will be zero, but it need not always be zero,
Okay. So
right? So
always it will be
it will
greater.
be either D or E, right? Now from this information we can assume it is either D or E. It can be zero if the topper itself is the maximum. So basically the overall topper is the topper for each subject. In that case it will be zero. But now how to eliminate from D or E? It is always less than or equal to zero. It is always greater than equal to zero. Now, when will it be greater than equal to zero? When the sum of these marks will be more than the total marks?
Yes.
But it can't be true, right?
Yes.
If the sum of all these marks, if the maths marks total is, let's say, 97, the the maximum marks for physics is, let's say, 90, the maximum marks for chemistry is 95, then
It will be
maths
less than
marks will
total.
always be greater than, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes. Yes.
individual maths marks से तो ज़्यादा ही होगा, right? Total maths का marks.
हाँ.
So in that case, the answer should be, it is always greater than or equal to zero.
Okay. Understood.
Got it? Now I think we
Yes,
should
ma'am.
end the session. We can take
Ma'am.
up more doubts in the next session, because otherwise everybody will have some or the other doubts, right? We can't take everything. We are already past the time. If you have any other doubts, please ask in the next session, or you can put it on discourse.
Now, actually, can you just tell what will be covered in the next instructor session?
Probably, so it will be, I think, week 3 only. I will have to check, but I think it will be week 3. But practice assignments, if you want, can be covered again. Otherwise, if all of you are comfortable, then either maybe some practice questions, or we can move forward with week 4, depending on. But yeah, week 3 summary is done. This session will be there recorded. So now nobody should say that week 3 summary has not been done. We have discussed some questions also, some doubts also. So moving forward, either PA will be discussed, or if practice assignment is not discussed, week 4 content will be discussed. Or you can take up the doubts which you have with the instructors till week 3. Okay, then thank you everybody. I'm closing the session.
But
Have a
ma'am,
nice.
Thank you,
excuse
ma'am.
me, ma'am.
Yes,
Excuse me. At least from next time, please in a systematic way, ma'am. Or else it appears as if Rupam has all the doubts and no other students, and few of them.
see, that part I can relate to them, but as an instructor, it becomes difficult to. So in Gmeet interface, it's still easier to see the order of the hands which is raised. But even in that case, assume from my side, when I'm teaching, my focus should be there on switching between the tabs which have the content, right? If I just keep coming back here and see what the line is, and a lot of students just keep raising hands again and again also, it becomes very impractical. So
At least you can, ma'am, unmute us, ask us to chat there, or give us give the
so you're
numbers question.
already unmuted, right? You're already unmuted.
Then it's just hodgepodge, na, ma'am. I will be curtailing someone's other questions. It will happen then that.
Probably, ma'am,
Okay.
what we can do is we can just appoint one person, any student who is diligent enough who can take up the doubts of some, like call the names of the person having the doubts. You
Okay,
will have
maybe
an
from the next
assistance.
session we can try that.
That way, that will be much better. The raising hands is much more efficient, because in the chat a lot there were a couple of questions which were very interesting, like
Okay.
how can side effect be an end goal. I guess Lily Srivastava wrote it.
Okay.
So those kind of questions do get
Okay.
dropped.
Okay. Okay. Cool. We can discuss that. If you have some interesting questions, you can also put it on discourse.
Yeah, but
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm ending the session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.